Did y'all miss my perverted ass? I've been busy like a motherfucker working on this fucking podcast. That yo talking for a certain amount of time is very draining, very, very, very draining. Um, and I couldn't do this one and that at the same time. I was thinking to myself, maybe I should just kind of like do the podcast and whatever we talked about on the podcast, truncate that all the way down to something that's like 10 minutes for people that don't want to sit there for the hour and a half. But anyway, show your support by letting me know in the comments what you liked or disliked about the video. And if you liked it, so will be appreciated. Those likes really help. So let's kick off our first topic here, which is basically the hopes for the PlayStation 5. We are literally like a week away, at least in the Americas, from the PlayStation 5, and I'm still a little bit skeptical if I'm going to get mine or not, because shit happens. They basically stated that, I mean, they took my money out as soon as I bought it, like on, what was it, July 16th or August? I forgot what fucking day it was, but they took the money for sure, for sure. And one of the most exciting features that is with the PlayStation 5 is its UI. I believe on the 6th they are going to have an embargo, either the 6th or the 9th. They're going to have an embargo release for everybody that they gave the PlayStation 5 to. So that's going to be very curious to see what else they are hiding. Supposedly there's a lot of shit that they are hiding. We just don't know. But you see this game right here, the Ghost of Tsushima, and one of the things that I love the game. It loads fast. I really would appreciate the loading of the SSD. That's great. My particular issue is, quite frankly, just the social media aspects or the social aspects of the PlayStation 5. I have had some difficulties trying to come up with some teams that I can play with successfully, with classes and stuff like that. And I would hope that, with the PlayStation 5, this is my hope at least, because the other things, it seems that they have it covered. But I would hope for some sort of alert ping. So like, let's say in this particular case, you bought the game, right? And you're looking for an assassin or a samurai, and you don't have friends that really rock that ability. Maybe anybody that pulls up the game, you'll have like an alert for that specific game, and it almost brings up like a form messages that anybody could type in this game space, and you can say like, hey, if anybody's around here. I think the Vita does it, actually. I want to check that out. I think the Vita did some shit like that too, and you can let me know in the comments if it has happened. But you can put in there like, hey, I'm looking for his, obviously your PSN will be there. But I'm looking for a Ronin. Whoever plays regularly, hit me up or whatever the case is, and we can discuss. Just something very simple. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Vita had something like that where you pull up the activities for each game, and it will have that information. You can basically use that as like a form. They may do that actually. So look out for that. That'd be fucking sweet. I would so love for them to do something like that. That's a quality of life thing that will be massive, more than a lot of the different things that people are requesting. It keeps the social aspect in, multiplayer games or co-op games. I'm down for it. I'm down for it. I can't wait personally. Moving on to the next subject. I swear, on social media, right? It is one of the most toxic environments you could possibly be. And I don't use that word lightly. I don't like copying people's, rhetoric on my stuff. I don't like that shit at all. But I will definitely say it is fucking toxic. Toxic as hell. The stuff that you will see. Now, one of the biggest buzzwords, or buzz news, was that Demon Souls has no ray tracing, and the reason why is because, well, the PlayStation 5, despite the fact that they showed it numerous times with Devil May Cry, or what's the other game, Spider-Man, they have it in there. And to be fair, I really do believe that fucking ray tracing is not that much of a big impact. Not reflections. Maybe if you have a racing game or a game that you're in the city with, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, I would say it will be important, and you can use it sparingly. Ray tracing is such an effect that is not like a set it and forget it thing. You know what I mean? If you have ray tracing in the game, there's many different ways that you can do ray tracing, such as screen space, global illumination, screen space, reflections. All of those are semi ray tracing elements that you're going to have to kind of like do a life hacks to make that shit work on these fucking 10 plus teraflop systems. Period. It's just how it's going to work. There's no way of making that shit work, like a turn on and on and off situation. In reality, ray tracing is a light source, and the light source will shoot out these photons or whatever the case is. It's little tiny bits of matter that will hit at a certain speed and bounce off depending on the roughness of the surface and depending on the type of material that the surface. So basically, light interacts with the surface of the material or the matter, and you do that trillions of fucking times to create what we have nowadays. Millions is not going to cut it, and billions it'd be okay. So they have ways of cheating that. Even in CGI movies, it's not something that's fucking easy to do. But getting to the point, ray tracing was removed, or was I guess, and it sucks here. People say that Sony was lying. I think what really happened was that they wanted to put it in there, but they were already working on Demon's Souls for a very long time. They've already created the textures. And a lot of times when you have a game that doesn't have real-time lighting or day and night cycles, stuff like that, that you just basically draw the shadows onto the ground or onto the texture or whatever the fucking case is. If they were to turn on, because they were supposed to be ray tracing shadows, if they were to turn that on, then it will be a conflict with what they drew on the fucking ground and the walls. They would have to redo the textures, which means that it would take a longer time to fucking make the game, redo all of those fucking textures. And I think they were going to do it, and then they just realized it's just really not fucking worth it. It's just not worth it for an effect that they have lighting that already looks as good, and it's not a dynamic game. You know what I mean? It's not day and night cycles. That's where you will see ray tracing really shine, whether it be global illumination or reflections and stuff like that. It's a pretty static game, not no dig to it. It's just that's how the game is made. There's no way. I mean, ray tracing, just you wouldn't notice it. You just wouldn't, in this particular case. And I can't wait. Maybe the global illumination, they would probably do that, but that still would conflict with the shadows. But when it launches, we'll see exactly how impactful ray tracing is. And then moving on to our last topic here. Let me go ahead and read it before I lose my train of thought. So let me go ahead and run this really quickly. So David Cage, the guy that made from Quantic Dreams, the guy that made Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human, and I forgot what the other one was, but you know what the fuck it is. You know who he is. He makes those games, right? He states this, and this is about 3 paragraphs. I'll try to be as quick as possible. It is always a challenge to compare hardware, as they always have advantages and disadvantages. It is not a matter of CPU or frequencies, more a matter of consistency of the components and the possibilities of advanced features. The CPU of the two consoles uses the same processor, slightly faster on the Xbox Series X. The GPU of the Xbox also seems, remember, he said seems, more powerful, as it is 16% faster than the PS5's GPU, which he's just running off of the specs that you will read. And I don't believe he's a programmer necessarily. He's just a kind of director or producer. But you also have a 25% bandwidth that's faster on the Xbox. The transfer speed of the SSD is twice as fast on the PlayStation 5. Overall, I think the pure analysis of the hardware shows an advantage for Microsoft, but the experience tells us that the hardware is only part of the equation. Sony showed in the past that their console could deliver the best looking games because their architecture, software were very consistent and efficient. That's the thing that fanboys fail to realize. Number one, they fail to realize that these fucking numbers don't mean anything. Repeatedly, I don't know what it is about Xbox where they really feel that they need to compare numbers, and the numbers are the only things. You don't play fucking teraflops. You know what I mean? You play the actual game engine. You don't play. None of that matters if you have no one to take advantage of it. It's like having a fucking Lamborghini um, that could do like 1,000 horse that has 1,000 horsepower. You know what I mean? And you're relegated to a fucking residential area, which is like 25 miles an hour in the U.S. What the fuck is the point of all that horsepower if you can't even fucking use it? Not to say that there isn't anything in the PlayStation 5 that is better. It could be fucking better architected. You know what I mean? It could be they could have less bottlenecks, so it's more efficient with power in terms of there's no cache stalling and things of that nature. You know, if you have cache stalling when you're making your game, the whole game freezes up until the next cycle. It's almost like waiting for a bus when it comes to information on a computer. If you miss that bus, you have to wait for the next one. So if they have a system in place where you don't have that many of these stalls, it could possibly be better than having all that power, which comes to a grinding halt, waiting for data. Shit like that. You feel me? So like, it's frustrating when you see all of this, and people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and it's just so eye rolling inducing. It's just like, oh my god, man, these people are fucking dumb, But all in all, it's what David Cage said. That was some big talk about David Cage, and that was stronger. And he did not say that. He was reading off what he saw on the paper and his experiences with Sony. That's point blank. But we'll see exactly how the games are going to go. It's been great coming back to making these videos. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for showing your support. I don't care if it's just one person that watched this shit. It really makes me feel good in this day and age. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.